Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 113. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I'm here to talk to you about lead generation. And I'm here next to my man, Jamil Damji.
What's cracking?
What's cracking?
How are you?
What are we talking? Are you talking exit strategies?
We're talking dispositions.
Dispositions.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about big deals.
We're talking about getting rid of them contracts to get them cheeky checks.
There you go. And we've got Pace Morby, Mr. Sub 2. Pace, what's up?
What's up? I got the biggest sub 2 contract in my life under contract today. $2 million.
Well, let's crack this thing open with that.
$2 million. $2 million. $0 to sell.
Can you make yourself bigger on our screen so we can see your beautiful face?
Oh, come on. You guys, I'm about as big as you guys right now.
Come on.
Actually, I like this view because I feel like I'm like sitting on your guys' shoulders. It's good. I'm like the guy that gets to whisper in both of your ears. It's really, really good. Guys, let's get this to 1,000 live viewers. You know, we get to like 800, 900 live viewers almost every single week. It's pretty rare for us to hit 1,000. We had Tarek El Moussa hit 1,000 when we were, what was that, about a month ago? Maybe 2 months ago?
Yep.
Guys, help us out tonight.
Yeah.
Share this. Go into Facebook groups. Take the YouTube link that you're watching it on right now. Go into some Facebook groups because 100,000 times did this show get downloaded in the last 30 days. What does that tell you? Are we providing some value to a few people or what?
That's just the podcast Pace. That's just the Wholesale Hotline podcast, let alone the YouTube channels. But the podcast, we actually had 635 downloads from Germany. How about that? So to all our German friends, thank you for listening.
What's even more interesting to me is that there's 2 people in Japan who downloaded Wholesale Hotline and listened to the entirety of the podcast. So my Japanese friends, what's your favorite ramen?
There you go. Inquiring minds want to know.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right, $2 million. Let's talk about it, Pace. Let's break this thing down. I'm gonna pick this apart. $2 million. Is that net profit? Is that value? Is that potential equity? What is that? Is that cash?
So in creative finance, I've been telling people the value of a property is based on what it can produce for me, not Zillow, not Redfin, not based on a comp. It's based on what it can produce for me. So it's very similar to multifamily, right, Jamil? Like you're not looking at multifamily based on comps. You're looking at multifamily based on what it can produce.
100%. That's how the value is determined on multifamily. And it just so happens that when you're talking cash flow, it translates the exact same way to a short-term rental or whatever your exit or your use for the property will be. So what's your plan?
My plan is to rent it out and make a bunch of cash flow. Everything right now, I think everybody's talking about, Jamil and I talked about this today, raising interest rates are kicking everybody's ass, like including me, guys. I know I talk a lot of trash about Burr, but we do a lot of Burr. Last year, Cody and I gained $1.5 million in not assets through Burr, but equity through the Burr strategy. So I love the Burr strategy. I just don't think it's for brand new investors. And in the last, what would you guys say, 60 days, what has happened to interest rates, Jamil?
Well, we've gone up tremendously, actually. Right now, if you get a quote for a 30-year fixed, you're going to be at 5 or over 5 in some cases, depending on your credit rate. So you know, it's definitely changing out there right now. And what does this mean in terms of a borrower, right? What does this mean in terms of a borrower? So Pace and I talked about it today, and I'll let him share with you where the percentages are. But what
I'll
we're
give you
talking
one
about,
percentage. You give the other percentages.
well, yeah, I'll let you give all the percentages. I just want them to understand what it means. So, guys, what Pace is giving you is buying power, right? He's talking about a purchaser's buying power. So when interest rates go up, a purchaser's buying power diminishes. And Pace, can you explain to us how 1%, what does that reduce in a person's buying power?
Roughly 11% in your ability to afford that payment. So let's say that your monthly payment is $1,500 a month at 2.99%, $1,500, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. At 2.99% interest rate, $1,500, we go up to 3.99. It goes up to about $1,700, a little over $1,700 per month. Okay, that's average across the board. Average credit, average down payment, average everything, just kind of average, right? So you go up to a 4.99, which is now what Jamil's talking about. Dude, you're like nearing $1,900 a month in a payment. Now, the thing that Jamil and I didn't know, we had to look this up, is we were curious how many homeowners are living paycheck to paycheck. Like literally every $100 in their life makes a significant impact to their decision making. Now, in wholesaling real estate, Brent Daniels talks about all the time, it's the gateway into financial freedom. It's the pathway. We don't really worry about like where we're going to dinner. We don't worry about whether we're going to Whole Foods or Bash's or any of that kind of stuff. We're not pinching pennies. So I think we're very far disconnected from people's decision-making hinges sometimes based on $100. Sure. And I'm sure we even have 100,000 of these downloads. I'm sure there's a few people in our audience that understand exactly what we're talking about. So Jamil, how many people are living paycheck to paycheck who are actual homeowners? What percent?
60%, 65% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they're literally at the end of the month, they're out of money, or near the end of the month, they're out of money. And so they might be borrowing on credit cards and surviving in that way. I remember living like that. I remember when that was my scenario. And so I mean, no judgment. It's a reality for a lot of people, and times are tough, right? Like if you are in that boat where you're living paycheck to paycheck, we get it. The thing is Miss Archie just said in the chat there that the 1 point reduces someone's buying power by, like, say, approximately $100,000, right? So Pace, if last month somebody could have qualified for a $450,000 mortgage, it goes up a point. What can they buy now?
What is that? $300,000? It changes by about $100,000.
And housing prices have been spiking.
Right.
So it's not like things are going down anywhere. Everything's been going up. And so if mortgage rates goes up, then how much somebody can qualify goes down. We're definitely going to see a reduction in demand in the market. Now, ultimately, what does this do to the housing market? I have my opinions. What do you think, Pace?
So I had a couple of people in our local market say, hey, so what are you doing? What's your strategy going to be going into these higher interest rate markets? I'm like, guys, I dominate in these markets because my average deal I'm buying is a sub-2 or a seller finance deal, right? That's what I'm acquiring in my portfolio. We add about $1 million to $1.5 million a month in properties into our portfolio through sub-2 seller finance. When I buy a deal subject to, I'm buying a deal that got an interest rate 2 to 5 years ago, right? They acquired their property 2 to 5 years ago. They fell into foreclosure. They fell into whatever situation. And I'm taking over a loan that was originated when interest rates were 2.5 to 3.5%. So for me, it doesn't impact me at all. In fact, there's filters nowadays that I can go out and search specifically for people who have gotten interest rates under 3.5% and go after those people to go and acquire those properties subject to. So my strategy doesn't change much. However, because I also fix and flip, Jamil, you and I both fix and flip. Fix and flip does change dramatically because right now, if you have a buyer that's looking to buy our 3-bed, 2-bath house in Mesa, let's say on Macedo, right? Or any of these properties that we currently are working on.
Right.
We're pushing comps as much as we possibly can.
Always.
And so an interest rate doesn't make our house less valuable. What it does is it makes our pool of buyers shrink down to something so small that we're going to have less bidding wars, less activity, and potentially have to reduce our price to essentially accommodate people's ability to actually afford that house. Because when you go out and you buy a car, most people are not looking at the price of the car. What are they looking at?
The payment.
Right. My payment. Can I afford my payment? Does that payment work into my structure? Does that work into my debt to income ratio when I look at my ability to afford everything at the end of the month? They go, I really like that car. What's the payment? Right? What can I afford? I want to drive that. All I have to do is make an extra $200. Okay, great. I can do that. So I know our market's going to not, I wouldn't say backpedal. I just think that we're going to cool down for the next 6 months. What I fear is if we hit interest rates over 6 or 7%, which is highly likely at the speed that they're raising the rates, I think that we at that point are going to have a decline in home purchases and prices are then subsequently going to go down. What's your opinion?
I think that you're on the money. I think you're on the money. Now, here's where we've got a red herring, okay? 20% of U.S. housing inventory is still being bought up by the big gorilla in the room, Brent Daniels.
That's right.
Okay, no, but really, 20%
Imagine I am a hedge fund.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that 20%
I think all the hedge funds are hiding in your biceps, dog.
That's
Just to
it.
be
They
honest.
are. They are. That's the hedge fund right here. So the 20% of the home buying that's happening by investors, hedge funds, private equity, they have not curbed. They have not changed. They have not turned the dial. In fact, they are getting more aggressive because there's less reason for them to have to bid up now and have to go into crazy multiple offers. So they're actually getting a better time at getting better deals. And so typically when you have your average American school teacher or fireman who can't buy a house because they're priced out because of rising rates, that buyer's gone. There's not an 800-pound hungry gorilla behind him ready to take the house. So I don't know, Pace. I don't know if this depresses pricing. I don't know if we're in for a small correction. Personally, I don't think prices go down. I think everything you said is on the money, but I think prices stabilize. And that's actually what I'm hoping for, because stabilization is needed in this time. It's too crazy out there. And the average homeowner, the average American family can't afford a house. And we can't ignore that. So it's not a bad thing for prices to plateau. I'm not looking for a depression, but a plateau would be hella nice. What about you, Brent?
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you hit it, Pace. I mean, we live in a payment society, not a price society, which is very interesting. And that's kind of how
I like
capitalistic,
that's a t-shirt, bro. I like
capitalistic societies are based off of that. You need to have a big bank that sends out money. So what happens when the government prints a lot of money and it goes to everybody is they need to hoover it back up into the bank somehow. That's why the same house last week is more this week in a payment, because they increase the interest rates.
So government was printing money. So that's like, you know, your crazy cousin Richie, who is always broke.
Yep.
You know how recently in the last 12 months he's got money?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Well, it's that. It's also, listen, I mean, we know that. I mean, you can look up the statistics on how much money was printed in the last 2 years, and it's bananas. I mean, it's absolutely bananas. And so the Federal Reserve, what they'll do is to make sure that prices don't go crazy with inflation, is they're going to take some money off of the board. And the way that they do that is through interest rates. So if you have to pay more in your payment, it just goes to the banks, guys. And when it goes to the banks, they're paying the Federal Reserve, and then they all kind of keep it together, and then they'll give it out when they want to. All right. That's all this is. That's how our society works, right? They determine what the payment is going to be on those houses. The beautiful thing about living in a capitalistic society is you can go down your street, find an ugly house, go have a conversation with the property owner, and get paid $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for solving the problem of why that house is ugly. Okay. Because there's a problem there.
Always.
We have the opportunity to not have to worry about all of these things and work in, just be a cog in this system, because we can be entrepreneurs. Not only that, but if you listen to Pace, you're going to understand how to build up a robust portfolio, because you know what the government hates doing? The government hates maintaining property. They
Yeah.
hate building property. They don't want to do it. They want companies to do it. They'll give grants for companies to do it. They do not want to play the real estate game. That's why we get something called depreciation on your personal income taxes. That's why wealthy people own everything. They own everything because that's how they avoid paying taxes and building and growing their wealth. So we've got all the cheat codes here, guys. We've got all the cheat codes.
You know, it's interesting, talking about Jamil, he made a point about these hedge funds, and I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon, because where else can they put their money and return the yield that they're currently returning? Because what's happening is, again, the value of the property is not determined by comps when you're doing rentals. It's determined by what it can produce for you, right? They're looking at their yield. They're looking at their cash on cash return. They're looking at cap rates depending on what type of asset they're buying. Check this out. Okay. I looked at this the other day. Let me do a little screen share on this. Hopefully you guys can see this just fine.
Yeah.
I bought this property. When did I buy this property, guys?
2/22/21.
So,
year about 14 months ago.
14 months ago, I bought it for $465. And at the time, a year ago, I was told I'm stupid. You know what my contract price was on this? Here's what I wrote. This is a seller finance deal. I bought seller finance, actually with a TTP student who brought me the deal. They said the seller wants Zillow price. And then I go, fine, I'll give him Zillow price. I don't care. Like, let's do Zillow price. At the time, Zillow price was $430. Why did I end up buying $465? Is because the seller came back and they go, you know what? The property is going to appreciate by the time we close escrow. And I feel like I'm going to be leaving money on the table. So what I told the sellers, I said, here's what we're going to do. Literally, this is what my purchase price said on the contract. It said, I will pay Zillow price the day we close escrow plus $20,000. That was my purchase price. Literally, my purchase price was not a number. It was whatever Zillow price is plus $20,000 on the day we close escrow. That is the purchase price. We came in at $465 seller finance deal. This is a property that we own. It's an Airbnb. It nets us about maybe $4,500 a month on average net in our pocket, $4,500 every month. The property's value now has gone up how much money?
250.
Yep.
$250,000 freaking dollars. So Jamil, what else can a hedge fund put their money in that's going to give them anywhere near this type of return?
Nothing.
So are they going to go somewhere?
Hell no. No.
And by the way, guys, listen, hedge funds aren't this like weird monster. Hedge funds like have your grandma's pension in them. That's how your grandma lives. Yeah. Hedge funds have like retirement for, Honeywell and for these. Yeah, for everything. I mean, these are huge companies that have very big and deep pockets because they see an asset class like real estate and they'll buy it and they'll get rent and they'll figure it out and they'll have somebody else manage it. And then they just get returns for these people. And this is how pensions work. Okay. This is how it works. This is how returns and dividends work. This is how retirement accounts for your parents work. Like they got a 401k. Guess where it's at? You know what I'm saying? They own 0.111% of some property somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's this big, monster. It's just a bunch of money going after an asset class that they see is going to be a really strong return for them. They would do it if it was like coffee beans. They would buy all the coffee beans and get the return on it. And they probably do. You know what I mean? That's just that's where we're going to live. That's where we live. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I assume it's going to be for a while.
I think it's going to be for a while. If we take a look, when the pandemic first happened, I kept talking about this thing called capital protection, and people on the internet were like, Jamil, shut up. And I was talking about capital protection because I first saw inflation doing exactly what it's doing right now. You can go back and scroll through my Instagram and
I remember exactly when you said it was actually on like episode 20 of Wholesale Hotline. We were just 4 or 5 months into Wholesale Hotline. And you were talking about people were pulling their money out of the stock market, like doctors, attorneys, people of high net worth, and going and running and putting their money into real estate. And that was one of the threads of buyers that you guys have access to at Keegley. People that literally are like, I'm buying this house as capital protection.
Bingo. Now, for disposition strategy, guys, as we pivot, because they're going to have to pivot. You may have fix and flip buyers that are going to sit on the sidelines right now and wait it out to see what's going to happen with interest rates. Maybe they don't play in a high enough price point where interest rates aren't an issue for them, right? Maybe they're in the price point where interest rates actually create an issue for them.
Yep.
So how do you pivot? How do you pick other buyers? Well, the strategy, thank you for bringing it up, Pace. The strategy that I talked about at that time was still targeting high net worth individuals and pitching to them the concept of protecting their capital in an inflationary protected mechanism like housing. How do you find those people? Well, I like to go onto Zillow or any other property database which lists the values of homes. So I'll go and find the $1 million neighborhoods in Arizona, the $1 million neighborhoods in Texas, the $1 million neighborhoods anywhere else. And I'll see where are these houses located. And then I will find those zip codes and I will skip trace the homeowners in those zip codes and I will cold call them. And if that doesn't work, I will send them mail. But believe me, these millionaires, these doctors, these lawyers, these accountants, these people that have all this cash, they are worried right now. They are worried because they are losing 8% on every dollar sitting in their bank account as it sits there and loses value.
Now, here's the thing. Ingrid has a really great question. Can you guys see this on your screen? I know you guys have a little bit different thing.
Yeah, that's great.
What is the average rent rate ever dipped ever? I mean, look at this, 1940.
See it?
Yeah.
Look at our rent rates. We've had a couple of little plateaus, right? No big dips at all. Really, there was a massive growth in 2007, 2008, and then dipped just a little bit for about a year. And now look at us. The line here is not any more dramatic than the lines really here. A little bit more dramatic, but not much.
And you know what that dip was caused by, Pace? That dip that you brought up? Go back to that dip.
Oh, shit. I just closed out on it. Sorry.
But that dip was when homes became affordable enough for renters to enter the market.
Right.
We're not going to see that.
Somebody
what do you mean by that, Jamil? Elaborate on that. That's a very important point.
So if you can rent a house, for instance, back in 2009, what got me into the real estate market again after getting my ass kicked back in 08 was looking at Phoenix and seeing that I could buy houses in Maryvale or I could buy condominiums that had just been built that were once worth $400,000 selling for $25,000 that were still renting for $850 a month. Think of that. If I can buy a condo for 25 grand that rents for $850 a month and I'm a renter, what am I going to do?
Did I tell you I passed on a free condo?
Yes, you showed me that condo.
It's the lowest sale in Phoenix history. It was $2,500 for a condo. It was totally ripped up. It had water damage, so everything was ripped out of it. And at the time, they were given a $2,500 bonus commission on top of 3%. So we've gotten 3% and the deal paid for. But I had a judgment on me, so I couldn't buy it.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Now it's like 180,000. Or something. 200,
sure
205. Yeah.
That was basically betting on the Rams on day one of the season.
Yep.
Well, Ingrid had a good question. She said, do you feel like there's going to be a regulation on rental increases? Well, Ingrid, those already exist in LA and other areas like New York and New Jersey and other places. This is where, Jamil and I just went to we had a couple of big meetups. By the way, New Jersey and New York were unbelievable. Nearly 1,000 people combined between those two meetups. It was epic. Shout out to Medium Wave Dave and Dennis Yasko, who put those meetups together. They were unbelievable. But a lot of people said, Pace, how can we do business together in New Jersey and New York? And I said, I don't want to hold properties here. It's not that I don't love your state and I don't love the food and the culture and the people. I don't agree with the politics that are with rentals. My income and my family's legacy is contingent upon the cash flow of my real estate. So I'm going to find states that are going to be favorable to my business. So ultimately, Jamil, LA better than anybody. How long have rent control situations been going on in LA?
Bro, I saw a guy living in his oceanfront apartment who hasn't moved from his balcony since I'm sure like 1940.
Crazy.
Like he petrified on his balcony. He's just sitting there. He's not leaving because his rent's not going up. Look, those markets that have rent control,
Mm-hmm.
they take way longer for rents to stabilize over there. Way longer, because a landlord actually has to pay those people to leave if they want to increase the rent. A substantial amount of money.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, Jamil, this is an interesting thing. I think I remember this story, but you have a buddy in LA. We don't need to bring up his name. He was in the process of going and buying. I think he's in the process of going and buying his first home in LA, but he's renting right now. He's been renting, paying on time. He has a great relationship with his landlord. If he leaves right now in LA, doesn't his landlord have to pay him to leave like $30,000-$40,000 or something like that?
$35,000.
How much?
$35,000.
Yeah.
Even though there's no strife, conflict whatsoever, the landlord has to pay $35,000 for the tenant to leave the landlord's property.
Yep.
So the answer to your question, Ingrid, shout out Ingrid. She's a sweetheart. We had her on the show about 3-4 weeks ago, guys. So go back and watch that episode. Her question was, do you think that's going to happen? It's been happening for a long time. It just depends on where you live. It's not going to happen anytime soon in Arizona. It's not going to happen anytime soon in Texas. It's not going to happen anytime soon in any of these markets. So if you are trying to buy and hold, which this is Wholesale Hotline, you guys are wholesaling to who? Who am I typically wholesaling to, Jamil and Brent? Who are my typical clients? Who do I sell my product to in wholesale?
Typically buy and hold investors, but mainly fix and flip investors.
Yep.
That's the main people that we sell to.
Right. BRRRR strategy investors that will renovate, refinance, and hold that property long term. Some of them are cash buyers. Very, very few of them are cash buyers. But I would say like 80% of the people that I wholesale to are fix and flippers. They're in it for a short-term gain very, very quickly. So do our customers in wholesale, are they going to be impacted as a fix and flipper with all these rate hikes?
In the low price area for the short term, yes. Okay, so if we're talking about median home price around $450,000 here in the state of Arizona, there will be a slight slowdown. Pace, we just saw this happen on one of our listings we just put on. You know that Pace and I put a house on the market every 2 weeks from our flipping business for what we do on the show.
Yeah.
I can't get into details, but what I can say is one of the houses that all of the houses up to this point have had a lot of action on it.
Right.
One of the houses that we just recently finished, there wasn't a call.
Mm-hmm.
It went through its first weekend on the market. Nothing. Like we all sat there looking at each other.
What's
like
the price point?
$440,000. It's priced so well. And it's been remodeled so beautifully that the fact that we didn't have an offer on it immediately was shocking to us. Now, it went under contract today, but it didn't go under contract today at full price. We've been selling above asking. We thought if we listed this property at the price that we listed it at, that we'd have a bidding war. No bidding war. So yes, it will affect you at the median home pricing. I saw a question here from Matthew Justice. Matthew asked, should I pivot and focus on holding? Well, Matthew, you actually fix and flip in one of the better subsets of the market, which is luxury. Yeah. I don't believe this affects the luxury market. I don't think interest rates of a 1% bump affect that subset of the market. What do you guys think?
Whenever people say, should I buy and hold properties? I tell them that when you're first starting out, I would make a goal to get your first rental property or your first Airbnb, your first asset in your first year of wholesaling. Okay. Get continual cash, get checks, assign, and get money going through your business so you can build systems and processes. But I would put a goal on yourself in my first 12 months. I need to hold a property, 1, for tax purposes, 2, for cash flow, 3, to break that paradigm of like, it's a challenge and it's hard. But then after you get past your first 6 months to a year, I would say that every 10 properties that you wholesale, you should be trying to acquire 1. That's our goal. We're way beyond that now. Every time we wholesale 5, we're typically buying and acquiring 1. But we're at an elevated state in our game, right? So don't compare my journey to your own. I would just say the answer is yes. You'll never lose with holding property long-term, and you'll wake up. How many times do Brent, you and Jamil drive around town and say, I wholesaled that multifamily, I wholesaled that single family, I wholesaled that deal for $100,000. I made 20 grand, but that property's gone up $300,000 in 5 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I just
I can say that about 5,000 houses or more in this town.
So I would come up with an equation that fits your resources that, yes, you should have a balanced real estate investment company. In your first 30 days, should I say, am I going to tell you go out and hold the property? No, get some money coming through the business, get some assignments cranking. One thing I wanted to pull up, this is very interesting. For anybody that's curious about where rent controlled markets are, how many rent controlled markets do you think there are? There are municipalities, so cities.
A lot. Yeah, it's a local government thing, guys. And the reason they do it is because these big mega cities, if only wealthy people can sit there, yeah, there's a ton of them. If only wealthy people can live in these cities, then who does the work on these cities? Who cleans the streets? Who delivers the mail? Who washes the windows? Who provides everything? Provides all the goods and services?
Right.
Who works at the restaurants? Who works at anywhere that's not a upper level management position? They need people closer because they can't commute enough, so that they give certain amount of rent control for certain areas, so that there is a workforce. Rent control is just to keep you in to be an employee forever.
Right. Well, check this out. So 2019, 182 municipalities, which is a city or a town, have rent control. 99 are in New Jersey, 63 in New York, 18 only in California, which is pretty cool.
Basically all of them. So New Jersey, New York, and California, Maryland, and Washington.
Right. So those are the areas that if you're going to be a landlord, I would not be holding in. I'm not saying that, I don't feel bad for tenants, and I don't think that they should have laws and regulations put in place for them. I'm just saying that if I'm going to invest long-term and I'm utilizing interest rates and all the things that we're currently talking about, I'm not going to go and apply and put my cash into those cities. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Yeah, I think you hit it right on it, Pace. I truly believe your first 12 months, and it depends on what your strategy is, right? If your first strategy is, I want to replace my current income so that I can be self-employed, that's where we start, right? So how are you going to do that? You have to get rich first, and rich just means cash coming in. It's not wealthy, right? Wealthy is when your cash starts making baby cashes, right? This is bringing in based on your efforts, right? Yeah. Based on your time and your efforts, you're bringing it in. Okay. So that's why I think you go out, you find as many ugly houses as you can, you have quality conversations with those distressed property owners, you start getting those checks coming in so that you can replace your income and do it in a responsible way so that you're not totally stressed at the end of the month and have to go ping pong and back to work, back to your job. So now you're going full time. If you're going full time and you got this thing going, you've got 3 months where you're getting closings, then yes, I think that you should go out and buy some rental property or property that you should hold. But I think if you were just starting out and you're building your company and you're essentially, and this is just in my mind, Pace, and maybe you have maybe you can change my mentality on this, but I think every rental property is its own small business.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You've got your renters in there, they're paying the bills, right? But you got to make sure that this thing is operational. You got to make sure everything's fixing, everything's going well. Like you have to manage it. You have to make sure that people don't just leave in the middle of the night, the whole thing, right? So it's its own small little business. So you're trying to build a business to replace your income, and you're trying to build another business over here. I think it's too much, too fast. I say get your schedule cleared up. Go full time in this business. Unless you just want to build a rental portfolio and have a job for forever, that's fine too. There's 19 million Americans that do that.
I actually have one of my students in the side chat. Her name is Yatang, spelled Yatang. She has a job she loves, and she's like, I don't want to wholesale.
Right.
She joined my program, and as you guys know, my program is lifetime. So they join, and sometimes my students will go through 6 months. They're wholesaling, they're signing sub 2, they're signing cash, they're doing some fix and flip, they're getting in the business. And Yatang goes, I honestly just love my job. And I go, all right, let's do a one-on-one. And I did a one-on-one with her with 400 students watching, and it was about an hour and a half one-on-one. And I broke down, Yatang, all you have to do. Right? She told me how much she made. She was very open with how much she made. She makes a really great multiple 6-figure income. And she goes, it's not that I want to leave my job. It's that I want to have the ability to leave my job.
Right.
And so we reversed engineered it. And I go, well, when would you like to be there? She goes, 3 years. I go, let's figure out how to do it in 2. Right. And so all she does now is she just goes and buys subject to and seller finance deals from other students who are out there assigning and selling those deals. And I go, Yatong, guess what? You're not a wholesaler. Do you know what you are? And she goes, what? And I go, you're a cash buyer.
Yep.
And that she's like, amazing. This liberates me. I thought that I had to go down this road of quitting my job. I go, no, that's not for everybody.
Nope. I totally agree.
You know what else happened in a down market in my lifetime? I made motherfucking money wholesaling houses. Okay,
but
guys,
you can't do this in a down market.
You can make money wholesaling houses, and it went on the down, on the plateau, and on the up.
Oh,
no way.
I promise.
There was more cash sales in the downturn than now.
Guys, don't let blips in the market stop you from taking action. Here's one thing I get in my DMs all the time. Oh my God, Jamil, I'm worried about the housing market. I don't know if it's time for me to learn about real estate. Guys.
My gosh. Give me a time machine. I wish I learned it 10 years earlier. You know?
Woo!
Wu-Tang Clan
Wu-Tang
ain't
in the
nothing
house.
I'm closing my first deal this week, y'all. Thanks to one of Pace's students who I used to JV the deal. Guys, this is what this is all about. I saw a comment earlier, somebody that said, I'm one of Pace's students, but Pace talks about Jamil and astro flipping and TTP all the time. So a lot of my students will join both TTP, astro flipping, etc. And it's amazing when you collaborate with other people and you're not sitting here trying to hoard everything and count everybody else's money and having jealousy and envy and greed and all these disgusting human traits, what you can actually accomplish. It is absolutely amazing. Collaboration. So good job, Wu-Tang. JVing is powerful. Super, super powerful.
Well done, you old dirty bastard.
I saw a question up here a little bit ago. They said, I know, Jamil, you base your business primarily off real estate agents, right? Leads that come from real estate agents. Doesn't mean you don't get them from probate attorneys or wholesalers.
Get them from all over the place, but yes, one of the verticals is agent outreach, correct?
Right. So if my agent brings me a deal, how do I go and find a cash buyer is what the question was. I just want to touch on base on that for a second.
Love it. Thank you, Pace. So the question is the mechanics, right? I think this person is still a little bit confused on how the mechanics of a deal work when an agent is involved. Guys, there's no difference in the mechanics of how a wholesale deal will work if there is an agent involved. An agent is only a representative. That's all they're doing. It's still an AB contract between yourself and a seller to get the property under contract. And you're still transferring control of that contract using the same instruments you would if you were direct to seller without the agent. That's either going to be an assignment if you're going to assign the property, or a B2C contract if your plan is to do a double escrow. So, again, having a real estate agent doesn't change the mechanics of your transaction. If you're wondering how the agent gets paid, that's a big question that people have. Who pays the agent in a wholesale deal when an agent brings me a property and I put it under contract and I wholesale it? Well, guys, when an agent is contracting a listing agreement with a seller, the seller always agrees to pay the listing agent. Now, the listing agent may say, my buyer will pay me, in which case you might be on the hook. So you want to make sure that you clarify with your agent that the seller is paying their commission. But 9.9 times out of 10, your agent will be paid from seller proceeds. Seller proceeds. Okay, so guys, it doesn't change the mechanics of a wholesale deal when you're working with an agent. Just has an extra representative in there, but it doesn't change those the main deal structure.
I had the biggest air meet I've ever had in my life yesterday. Crazy. We had nearly 3,000 people on the live yesterday. It was bonkers. Bonkers. So I have a question for you, Brent.
Yep.
I'm sure you run into this frequently where Primal Eskimo says, I'm still working on getting that first deal. Almost there, going to get a lead soon. I know it. So this is I'm going to talk to Brent as if nobody's around except for me and Brent.
Yep.
Brent, when you hear this kind of stuff from people, is there a series of things that you think immediately in your brain that they're not doing?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I would assume that they probably haven't gotten to that 200 contacts. So I'd be curious to know how those how many people they've talked to and what they're saying.
What does that mean?
would be
200 contacts.
Yeah, let me show you this. Can we put this on? Because I think this.
Were you already heading down this road? And
I'm heading down this road. I mean, you softballed it in. I love it. But this is actually inspired by Jamil. So this is a perfect triangle of instruction here. So 200 people, you have to talk to 200 distressed property owners to get a deal. Okay.
Can you draw a stick figure or something next to that 200?
There is this guy, and he's got his biceps there.
Yes.
There we go, right? So you got 200 people that you have to talk to, and the average deal size around the country, if you take all markets, is about 15,000, right? So it's about 10%, which, whatever. Let's just call it 15,000. Now, talking to agents, this is from you and Ryan Zolan, both confirmed that it's about 300. Right. Yep. And you make about 10,000. So you're like, well, wait a second. If I talk to 200 people and I get 15,000, why wouldn't I just do that as opposed to talk to real estate agents 300 to make 10,000? Well, the interesting thing that Jamil will tell you is, do you want to do drugs once or do you want to meet the drug dealer? Okay. And what happens is this one person here, now you have Monique Walker. Right now you have this agent that's in there, and they're going to give you 3 deals this year, and 10 deals, or 3 deals this month, or 10 deals this year, or 10 deals in the next 3 years. Imagine having 1,000 of these people. Now you got to talk to a ton here, right? You got to talk to 300,000. Maybe that's a little bit over skis, but maybe you get a solid 100.
Yeah, you get a solid 100 agents. You got $1 million business, bro.
So, and by the way, what I want to get at here is, guys, when you're going at this 200, it's gone. You have to constantly be feeding that machine. You're going to get big checks, and I want you to do that. But at some point, you're going to have to build up your database of referrals. You're going to have to find enough people that you reach out to. Would you rather talk to the 100 people that know, like, and trust you every single year all the time, or have to talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of people for the end of all eternity and have your team do it? Right? Start building your referral database. You will win.
I've got in my email right now, Rylas Dana. I don't know if he's in here tonight. Rylas Dana has sent me 3 deals in the last week. 3 in the last week. Jamil, when did you and I do that deal out in Las Sendas? Was that 2 years ago? Jacob Chapman bought it.
About a year and a half.
Okay, so about a year and a half ago, like, I'd been doing deals with Rylas for a year and a half prior to that. Right. So here we go. 3 years solid. I've been doing deals with Rylas, and just how did I meet him? I went to a real estate meetup and I talked to him over the plate of barbecue.
Yep.
So people think, like, when we're talking about go to a meetup and meet people and talk to people, TTP, right? Talk to people, 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 talk to people. They think that it's some cliche thing that we're just throwing. Guys, I'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars from one relationship this year. Jamil will make $1.5 to $2 million this year from one relationship. Monique Walker, who was one of the best guests we've ever had on Wholesale Hotline. So
it's crazy.
When I see a comment,
caller, essentially, you know what I mean? Like, she's your unpaid cold caller.
Well, she gets paid very well, but yeah.
No, I mean, like,
yes,
based on results. Though.
I know the highest.
You want to have the highest marketing budget of all time, and it's unlimited, and you get incredible returns from it, bigger returns than ever. Pay based off of results.
Yep.
Right.
Pay based off of results. Split it 50-50. Split that deal 50-50, and you could do unlimited amount of deals.
100%.
Right.
100%.
The thing is, this business is magical. It's absolutely freaking magical. But when people say stuff like, I haven't gotten a deal yet and I don't know what's going on, the first thing that pops in my head is that they haven't had those conversations.
Enough.
Now, if they say, I have had
got somebody. Yeah.
If I have had those conversations, I'm staying the course. I'm staying on it. I'm staying on it. I'm staying on it. I then say, show me in your, where you're tracking it. Show me how often you're having conversations. And then they come back and they go, well, I've had 15 conversations. I had 15, I had 20, I had whatever. Guys, it always comes down to that one thing. Are you talking to people, and are you work? That's it. It comes down to TTP, right? TTP is the very beginning of this. You have to talk to people, whether it's probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, insurance agents, realtors, wholesalers, motivated sellers, distressed sellers, whatever. You have to be talking to people every single day in business. I call Cody Barton, my business partner, calls me today. And Jamil and I are opening a title company in Florida right now, too. And we're also
bada boom.
And we're opening one in Texas as well, which is exciting. So Cody Barton calls me and he goes, "Hey, what are you excited about? What are you really, really excited about?" And we talk about the title company thing. We talk about some lending things that we're putting together. And he goes, "What are you not excited about?" And I said, "Honestly, the thing I'm the least excited about in my life is how infrequently I get to talk to sellers. I got addicted to it. I love it. It was so absolutely fun for me. It becomes a superpower." And one of my favorite things Brent Daniels has ever said on this show is he says, "I have the confidence of like Godzilla. You can take everything away from me. You can take all of my resources, my cell phone, everything away from me. But because I know how to talk to people and talk to motivated sellers, I can make money in any market, whatever the interest rates are going on in any city, no matter what's going on, I can go make money with wholesaling real estate." Absolutely. That's a confidence level that everybody in the side chat is looking for, dude.
1000%.
You get that from talking to a lot of people.
You do.
I didn't have that. I had to go door knock in the middle of the summer because I was
bullshit,
totally broke.
Brent. You were born confident, bro.
Yeah,
you were born. You knew exactly what to say when you started. You had no. You did. You
I had
came
a lot
out
of training.
the womb.
Yeah. My dad used to take me out when we were 7 with my grandpa, and we just knock doors and get deals. We've been doing it for generations. It's amazing.
He tried to buy the doctor who delivered him house.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, listen, guys, this is a learned skill. Anybody can do it. The issue that happens, Pace, and we all know this, is we get excited. We know what to do. We know what to say. We know who to say it to. But then we're sitting in our house, and all the doubts and all the fears and all the disappointment that we've had in the past and trying other things starts creeping in. We start hallucinating, and then we clamp up. Like if you just stop your brain from thinking too long, have a 3-second countdown, 1, 2, 3, press send on that call, put it on speaker and just start talking to people, you're going to build up the reps. You talk about it all the time. It's reps. All life is reps. It's reps and attention. Like where are you putting your attention? Are you putting your attention on your fears? Are you putting your attentions on your curiosity to know everything about this business and be as educated as possible, but not make any real impact because you're not actually providing value to the community? Like find somebody, guys. They've been on a 3-year tour. A 3-year tour of going around the country, encouraging everybody to squad up. We've been doing the show 133 weeks in a row to squad up so that you don't have to go at this all by yourself. Because I'm telling you, if you go to a coffee shop with somebody else and you have a list and you have a phone and you have your phone, just start making calls together. That's it. And then do it again and do it again. I mean, people meet up and spend hours on Twitch or hours playing games. Like that's great. And it's an escape, but it's not going to move the needle financially. Like just put in the time and attention to this business and you win. You win.
You know what's funny? Right now, realtors who have their property on the market longer than say 30, 60, 90 days, they're shitting them pants.
Oh gosh.
You guys want to you guys want to talk
so soft.
Woo! You want to go out and get a deal tomorrow?
No skills.
You want to go out and get a deal tomorrow. You want to go out and get a deal tomorrow. I see somebody in the chat said, "You know what, truthfully, all I need is knowledge, and as soon as I get the knowledge, I'm going to go out and make money because I love talking to people." Well, here's what you do, bro. You go find houses that have been listed on the market in your area that have been on the market for 90 days or more. Then you call those realtors and you say, "Realtor, the market is changing. Interest rates are spiking. We have the first of 6 Fed raises, and the market has already shifted. When will your seller come to terms with where this property needs to trade? Because I'm willing to give you a cash offer and I'll close it in 10 days, but we got to do this deal today." I promise you, if you call 50 realtors tomorrow who have their property on the market right now listed for longer than even 30 days, and you use that pitch, one of them is going to turn into a deal.
For sure. Not only that, they're so scared that interest rates are going to destroy their business.
Oh my God.
And then they're going to have to go back to driving the Honda, not the Mercedes, and the lease. And that's going to be embarrassing at their school, right? At their kids' schools. They can't do that. So you go and say, listen, do you want to peer around the corner real quick? Do you want to see what the next 6 months, a year looks like? You need cash buyers. Guess what? I have all of them. So let's do business.
Now rewind that track a little bit and you might have enough game to roll up in a club or something. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Tyler Snyder, I really like this a lot. He says, I've been told by a very successful entrepreneur in real estate, and I quote, I've never met a single person who has had 30 conversations a day with sellers, buyers, lenders, and not made $300,000 a year.
Boom.
That's top 5% income earners.
When somebody says like, this doesn't work for me, and I go, okay, show me your last 30 days of work. Just show me your last 30 days of work, and they can't produce anything. Guys, that's all it comes down to. Are you putting in the work consistently or not? Love that quote, by the way. This is a great question. Do you guys mind if we jump into this for a second?
No,
I'm curious because there's 2 frames of thought here. There's
can we get some likes though, Pace? Can we
Hell yeah,
some,
give us some likes, guys.
Guys, if you guys are getting value out of this, I feel like this. I feel the energy. This is going fantastic. Guys, hit that like. It just exposes. It makes this audience bigger, and the more people that you get, are around, the more likely it is that you're going to find somebody that lives by you or works or doing something. So, make sure you hit that.
Look at this. Pace, read that.
Yeah, she says 964 properties in Arizona have been on the market for 60 days minimum in active status. How the fudge knuckle is that even possible in an inventory crisis?
Right. One of those 964 properties is your $10,000 check, guys.
For sure.
Right.
Probably,
no
more
excuse.
Probably more like 10.
More like 5 or 10. Yeah. No excuses. No excuses. And that, you know what? Ingrid's going to get them all if you guys don't get on it.
Knowing her momentum right now, the answer to that is yes. She's been doing so many amazing things. Nadia O, if I have my own cash, is it better to use hard money lenders anyway as a cash buyer, so a fix and flipper? My opinion, don't take this as your gospel truth because your situation, your resources, your marital status, your risk tolerance might be different. I never use our own cash when we fix and flip, never. And there's a reason for that because I put my money in other things, right? So let's look at this. If I go buy a title company, for example, right? Let's say I go buy a title company, my cash on cash return on a title company is nearly 400% per year. 400% per year, cash on cash return. If I put my money into a fix and flip, all I'm doing is saving about 10%.
Yep.
Right. So what is the velocity of your money? Where do you want to place your money? I would much rather place my money in a higher yielding situation where I own another asset and I diversify. But again, Nadia, if you're just starting out, you're not going to go, all right, let me go buy a title company today, and then I'll go borrow money on a hard money loan. It all is dependent on what other opportunities you have in front of you. If you are setting out to do your first fix and flip, I would, if I were you, I would actually partner with somebody who is a known, proven track record in fixing and flipping, bring them an opportunity and partner with them. Don't put any of your own money at risk. I would not put any of my own money at risk. Go utilize somebody else's experience. Now, when you get experienced, couple of properties, you understand the flow. Still, I would not use my own money. I would use hard money all day long. Hard money now averages about 8 to 11% for a fix and flip. Brent and Jamil, what are your thoughts on using a hard money lender or your own fix and flip or your own cash?
I'm with you, bro. I always use and leverage hard money lenders. A extends how many things I can do. And B, like you, I like to invest in higher yield opportunities, right? So if I was not having cash in my bank, if I didn't have readily accessible cash, how would I have done that little multifamily deal I just made 450 grand on? How would I do that? I needed cash for that, right? How would I build affordable houses with Shayna Farnsworth if I didn't have access to cash?
Right.
So I've got to hold cash. Now, what I love doing is using my buddy Noah Brocious' money.
Yeah, they're
where
great.
He lets me. I put down 10%, and he gives me a kick-ass rate. And I'm in and out of those houses, and I can.
Why haven't we had Noah on here?
You know what? He'd be
Yeah,
great.
He would be great.
Like, why? Noah's so great, and he's charismatic. He's
How
smart.
many
He's
billions do you
sweet.
think he's lent?
Well, over $1 billion. I mean,
Easily.
you know, he's at any
Easily.
given time he has $300 to $400 million on the street. Think about that.
How much?
$300 to $400 million on the street at any given moment. Crazy. You guys want to learn how to raise money? I know Pace can show you how to do it, and this other guy, Noah Brocious, he can also do it too. That's all he does. That's all he does.
Okay, so a couple of great things in here, guys. This has been a great show. What do you guys think?
It's been incredible.
There was somebody asked about the script, Pace. If you don't mind, guys, you can get the a ton of scripts at ttpinsider.com. TTP Insider, Matt, will you type that out and put that in the deal?
I'm looking for the comment. I'm so sorry I missed it. I was kind of hovering over a question I wanted to answer.
There you go.
Guys,
Tyler Snyder really wanted this question tonight, by the way. I don't know if you guys, there we go. ttpinsider.com, guys. ttpinsider.com. What happened to talktopeople.com? You still have that?
Same thing. Same thing.
Goes to the same spot? Okay. Cool.
Talk to people is just kind of like more like, hey, look at me and my fancy, stuff.
real quick, guys, if this conversation that we've been having about the current state of the market, interest rates, activity, volatility, housing starts, if this stuff interests you, I'm a part of a Bigger Pockets podcast called On the Market. If you guys are interested in data, analytics, and really getting granular about where the market is going, if you want to be a fortune teller, listen to the podcast On the Market on Bigger Pockets. It's dope.
Awesome.
Amazing. Okay, here's a great question. Tyler Snyder, Brent, Jamil, and Pace, would like to know where you guys are finding your property managers. Do you have these people in place prior to entering a market? I'm more of a aim. No, I'm not. I'm a fire first and then aim later kind of guy. So I'll go buy a property. Like I bought my first property in Fayetteville, North Carolina, subject to last fall. I then go, man, I really like it here. I have an Airbnb manager named Noah Hoffman. He would be a really great guest as well. I love Noah. He's awesome. He manages all my Airbnbs, not all, but about 75% of my Airbnbs nationwide. Some of them we manage here locally in Arizona. And then I go, you know what? I'm going to buy another property here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I went and did the same thing that you all should do. I Googled and found people had good reviews. I called people and I interviewed them. We called 3 people. The third person was the person I really liked because there was the owner picked up the phone. He's like, I go to the properties. I'm a small kind of boutique thing. And that's what I specifically wanted. Other people would have looked at that property manager and go, oh, the owner's driving around. I can't answer that question for everybody. You have to come up with your own thing. So I bought a triplex in Fayetteville. We're now looking for more multifamily in Fayetteville because Amazon is growing there and they're going to provide like 20,000 jobs in the next 5 years or something crazy.
Yep.
So I bought in the market first, found the property management second. I'm not doing it the other way around. What about you, Brent? I know you've got some properties here in Phoenix. Are you managing those yourself?
Yeah, all in-house. Just all with
in-house.
my staff. I don't have enough to really get like a company.
Yeah.
To do it. It's just in-house.
The
Easy
ones
stuff.
our traditional rentals. I have most of my traditional rentals right here in our backyard.
Yep.
We have nearly 100 doors right here in Phoenix, Arizona. We went to a property called On Q Property Management. How did I find them? My wife worked for them as an agent, as a leasing agent for 2 years. So I knew them. It was a relationship. It was squatting up and getting to know people, talking to people. And we utilized that relationship. When I bought roughly 75 doors in Yuma, Arizona. Same thing. I went and found somebody that specializes in manufactured housing management. And the first manager we fired like 3 days later because they weren't picking up the phone. I go, red flag. If they're not picking up the phone, they're not picking it up for tenants. They're going to be hard to deal with. We fired them immediately. 2 nights later, we hired a different property management company. And there was a shooting in one of my mobile home parks. 1 o'clock in the morning, my property manager went down to the property and took care of it. That you just have to go through some trial and error. So Tyler Snyder, I'm sorry, that's not the answer you want to know, but that's the answer you got to know.
Great stuff.
Awesome.
Angel Vega, this is something I've been bringing up a lot lately. I said this thing on one of my podcasts. I said, if anybody disagrees with me, tell your guru to come and fight me because I disagree with anybody that says, go find a deal first. regarding one person. If I'm brand new and I don't understand value, I don't know how to comp, I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff, I always tell people, go build a couple relationships with buyers who can help you understand the values of properties, whether that's a Keegley, whether that's another disposition house. If Keegley's not in your market, Keegley is a buyer. Go find a Keegley and have them give you the values when you're negotiating with sellers. But if you don't know how to comp a property, you don't know how to verify that this is an absolute good deal, I would suggest very strongly, do not go and call sellers, put them into contract without knowing that you are putting them in at the right price. You're going to put real people in real bad situations.
Yeah, that's the toughest part when you're getting started is, is this a deal or no deal? And then how big of a deal is it? Right. And so you don't know if you're not getting some sort of, communication with somebody that's doing deals. You know what I mean? Like it's
now,
guys,
if Brent, you started in a brand new market, if you start in a brand new market tomorrow, you're not going and finding buyers first, are you?
If I'm starting in a brand new market,
yeah,
100% I am.
You are?
I'm going to go. Well,
is that because your strategy is different though?
It depends on what market I'm in. Like if you put me in a situation where I'm alone,
let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina in your mind.
If I got Charlotte, North Carolina in mind, I call my Keegley franchise and I say, hey, bro, I'm going to go out and lock up some deals. You ready?
Mm-hmm. And you're going to go talk to agents and wholesalers.
Correct.
Okay, but Brent is direct to seller primarily. So Brent, you go to Charlotte, North Carolina, and you understand value, right? You understand how to comp and understand how to look at what other people are trading deals at. Are you going to go and spend your time finding a buyer? Or are you going to go immediately pull a list of motivated sellers and start calling?
Do I have money? Is this one of those you're dropping me in the middle of nowhere with no money? Because if I have no money, I'm going and I'm going to find somebody that has money, so I'm not lying to people on the phone saying I'm a buyer.
That. Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking you were going to say
me going into a new market. I'm going to just call up a seller. I'm going to call up the sellers, and then I'm going to match them up with Keegley.
Okay, love it. I love that. So again, guys, the answer is if you're brand new and you don't understand how to comp, so Property Warehouse says sellers first. Don't ever tell somebody that's brand new to go find a seller first. If you're brand new, go get one relationship, whether it's Keegley or another cash buyer in your market, become friendly with them for 15, 20 minutes on a phone call. Okay. Sunday service, by the way, this coming Sunday service, I'm going to be calling buyers in Hawaii because at that point it's 4 p.m. on a Sunday rather than 7 p.m. when my podcast starts. So you guys will hear me call cash buyers and build relationships with them in about 4 freaking seconds. Start with a buyer if you're brand new because they provide resources like Brent just said. Brent, what are some resources that a buyer can actually provide to you in that brand new situation?
Deal or no deal, and how big of a deal is it, bro? You know what I mean? They're going to give you the title companies, right? They're going to give you the title and escrow officers to work with or the closing attorneys. They're going to make sure that you have the right paperwork. They're going to draw up the paperwork typically. Then they're going to make sure that you don't get over your skis with the price, maybe even go on the appointment with you if you don't have experience there as well. So, I mean, it's all like there's so many opportunities to go find people in your marketplace to squat up with when you're getting started so that you know and have that confidence to move forward. That's what a lot of people aren't doing. A lot of people are just kind of staying in their little bubble, hoping that they can just lock something up and put it on Facebook Marketplace and get it sold. But there's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of headache in that process if it doesn't go right. Somebody could go to the seller and say, you're trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and they could give you more money for it. They could tell you it's not a deal and then you cancel it. There's a lot of things that can happen when you're just getting started.
But then also you're not making a fraudulent offer to a seller.
Yeah,
if you've got your buyer backstopping you and you've got your buyer's funds backing what the promises and the things you're telling somebody, that's good business, right? That's good business because you're being ethical now. You actually have the money available to you. Like my first deal, guys, I had some people in the Bigger Pockets comments. They were like, hey, Jamil, why are you telling people that they should have the money to buy a deal and not wholesale? I'm like, listen to what I did. I had a buyer. Yeah. I had a guy backstopping me. I had $400,000 of buyer backstopping me before I put that woman under contract for $350,000. Okay, that's called ethics. That's called bringing liquidity to the table and actually being able to back what's coming out of my mouth.
Yep.
See, this is like Rudy, please understand what we're talking about here. He says, I never understood finding the buyer first. I can easily pull a cash buyer list for the last 2 years and voila. I agree with you entirely. But remember who we're talking about here, right? Not everybody, we've got 600 plus people in this live YouTube right now. Not all of these people understand how to go and value and understand what their offer should be to a seller. Yep. And this is where you get a lot of sellers. This is where you get a lot of wholesalers that are brand new. Go get people under contract and they go and try and sell that contract and it doesn't move and they don't know why. And I always say, let me guess. You went and locked up a house first before you found a buyer to verify your purchase price to go, yep, you got it right. I've never seen it another way around. So if you're brand new, Rudy, brand new, and you don't understand value, please remember when you first started and you didn't know how to comp, you didn't know what people were buying for. You didn't know what to offer to a seller, because as much as we all want to say, here's our equation, 70% of ARV or 65 or 85 or whatever it is, depending on the market, your buyer is always the person who determines the price. Your buyer determines the price. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. So a couple of really good, such great questions in here tonight, dude.
I liked Bobby Montoya's question. He's an Astro student, and I understand why he doesn't really know the answer to this, but I think it's a question you have the answer to, Pace. He asked, can you still close on a property that has a cloud on title?
Yeah, I saw that. I had it on the screen for just a second, but then I saw that other comment. Here it is. Bobby Montoya. My name is Herminio Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Okay, so Bobby, the answer in a cash transaction, the answer is no. You cannot. You cannot close with a cloud on title, because whoever's buying it on the back end, if there's a lender, hard money lender or a traditional lender, that lender is going to want to have that title completely cleared before they put their money against that property. However, in creative finance, I've got a property right now in Arlington, Texas, where I'm taking over a contractor's lien, I'm taking over a state tax lien, and I'm taking over a judgment. 3 clouds on title. I'm taking them over all subject to, including the 4th lien, which is actually the one in first position, which is the mortgage. So no, you can buy properties with cloud on title. You can even, here's another question. Brent and Jamil.
I'm looking for the 6-fingered wholesaler. That's so good. It's from the movie that he just quoted, the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I got to see this. What? Oh my gosh, Jason Grizel.
I'm ringing it.
That's the best thing.
That's so
the best
good.
thing I read all day. Yes.
What a classic movie, dude. Okay, so here's a great question. Going back to the houses with clouds on title. Another cloud on title would be a memorandum. Can a title company go around a memorandum? It's a trick question.
Can a title company close?
I mean, they can.
They can. It depends on whether or not their title insurance will insure over the cloud. That's all it is. So if a title company believes that a cloud is unjustified or BS or phony baloney, they can do what they call insure over that, where their title insurance will cover them in case of a dispute to say, no, we looked at this looked like a phony memorandum, or this looked like a BS lien or a BS claim. So we feel confident insuring this title policy around and over this cloud because we feel this cloud's unjustified.
Primal Eskimo, of course, he has an uncle that has 6 fingers. I mean, come on. Jamil, that's a great explanation. Here's the other thing is, if you have a memorandum filed against a property, the title company that I currently own in Arizona, we will go around your memorandum if you don't have a copy of your purchase contract attached to that memorandum showing that you gave notice to the seller that you are going to file that memorandum. If you guys remember, Sean St. Clair, a real estate attorney well known in this market or in wholesale and creative finance, he's amazing. He came on our show and talked about memorandums, and that when to use them, when not to use them, whether they're legal, they're not legal, etc. Go back and watch that episode. It's an amazing episode. Just type in Wholesale Hotline Sean St. Clair. He said you can file a memorandum without permission and without notifying the seller and without filing a copy of your purchase contract. But now you run the risk of a title company basically going, this is a stupid memorandum. We're going to close around this and you can come and sue us because you're an idiot. So the answer is yes and no, depending on the situation, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity.
It's a great question. Great answers.
Okay, here we go. Brent Daniels, great question for you, brother.
Do you believe it's important to start wholesaling in your local market when starting out? I really like it. I really, really, really prefer it so that you get some momentum, get some wind behind your sales, so to speak, right? And you can, that could be your warm up. If you're like in a smaller town and you're like, you know what, I'm going to outgrow this town, but I'm going to warm it up. I'm going to find the 1 or 3 or 5 actual investors in my city, in my town, and I'm going to befriend them and I'm going to learn as much as I can from them. Then I'm going to bring them deals, right? And then that gets the ball rolling. You go from, because when we're starting out, we're starting with faith that you believe that you can do this, faith that you're going to go out there and you're going to make a difference, faith that you're going to get this to the finish line and actually get paid income to do so. And once you get that first check, that's when you cross over to fact. It turns into a fact. And in this business, fact wins, right? Once you know that you can do this, you can repeat it, repeat it, and repeat it, and repeat it, and then you start expanding. So I think just going out and finding an ugly property in your marketplace. Now, listen, if you live somewhere that's super, super, super rural, like you have less than, I'd say, 30,000 people, then go to your next biggest market. Just do it. Just drive that 2-3 hours to the meetups, find a way to move there. I don't know what you're doing in the middle of nowhere anyway. Maybe you like it. I don't know.
I mean, maybe you can be king shit at Turd Island. Who knows?
That's it.
It's interesting because I have a couple of students who are like in West Virginia and some of these markets that have one stoplight in the whole town.
Yeah.
And they dominate. Right?
Yeah.
Are they doing $500,000 a month in assignment fees? No. But are they making maybe $350 to $450 a year take home? Yeah, absolutely. So it depends on what you want to do. But what I like about your own market is getting a feel for the streets, getting a feel for the neighborhoods, getting a feel and the vibe. And if you just go out right now tonight with your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your whatever, your kids, and you take a 15-minute drive and meander through a couple of neighborhoods, are you guys going to notice any shitty looking houses?
Yeah.
One of the first questions I ever asked Brent Daniels is I said, this is so long ago. I said, bro, I feel like with all these people wholesaling and all these people fixing and flipping, we're going to run out of distressed properties, bro.
Yep.
Do you remember me asking that question?
Yeah, the day that we live in utopia, the day that there's not an ugly house on any streets is the day that we're going to have to change strategies. You know what I mean? That's it. I mean, there's properties are getting worse every day. Every day they exist, properties are getting worse.
Yes. Primal Eskimo says, my area is nice. Primal Eskimo, tell me the city that you live in right now. Tell me the city you live in right now.
I live in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Phoenix. And 10 doors down, there's a meth head.
Mm-hmm.
How about across the street to the left of you? That house.
No, that's a meth head's parents.
Oh, meth head's parents.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, that house across the street from you was in major distress up until recently. Major distress.
Yep.
And you live, like, literally when people want to move into Phoenix, Arizona, they want to move in your zip code.
100%.
Let's see what he says. What does he say? Where does he live? Ashburn, Virginia. Okay,
guys, then just do it virtually. Just try find properties from Google Maps. Like, what are we talking about? Like, there are so many neighborhoods and areas that you could go to. I could go into like the nicest place in Beverly Hills right now in Google Maps and find 2 or 3 properties, probably, maybe more.
Yes,
probably more. Maybe on Malibu, there's some older, you know what I mean? They're probably $20 million, but somebody would pay it. You know what I mean? Like, there are every property that exists right now is exposed to the elements. Okay,
And every human being is exposed to life.
that's it.
You know,
That's it.
it's life or
physical distress and
yes.
emotional distress. I mean, it's real, or financial distress. Those are the three problems that we solve, guys. It's the condition of the property, the financial distress, or the emotional distress. Like, that's why people sell properties for a discount. They want speed and convenience. They don't want this to be another thing that they have to deal with. So they want us to come and take that pain away. They want us to solve that problem. That's what we do. That's what's so wildly rewarding about this business is every day we get the opportunity to go out and enter somebody's life. They're not going to do it themselves, right? Head in the sand, put your ass where? In the air.
In the air.
And what happens when your ass is in the air?
People touch your balls.
It gets kicked, right?
People kick your balls.
I was like,
or
ooh,
people kick your balls. Yeah, I mean,
you get pegged.
no, I'm just saying people have their head in the sand. They need somebody to help with, and yeah. And we're going off the rails here. No, but for real. I mean, so just focus on it. And I love this. I wrote this, and I've said this a couple times. But if you're scared of talking to people, if you're scared of talking to strangers, if you've never done it, if it's never been, something that you feel like, oh, I'm an introvert or more, I'm more of a thinker than I am a talker, whatever it is, just remember this: talking to people is 1,000 times more fun than being broke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
unless you're a pig in shit.
Yeah.
Right. People that enjoy having problems and enjoy complaining. We all know those people,
whether,
no, they made it through one episode and they were like, these guys are too happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these optimists.
These guys are horrible. Check this out, guys. Ashburn, Virginia. You're right. There are nobody in foreclosure. There are no cash buyers. There's no free and clear. There's no expired listings, 613 expired listings in Ashburn. There's no opportunity here in Ashburn. You are correct.
There's 6,000 properties owned free and clear. You don't think you could do seller finance? You don't think you could do novation?
Like,
you don't think you could do a whole
buy some seller finance right now? So the other thing is even though you live in a really nice neighborhood, which he's right, Ashburn is very nice. It's very, very nice. It's the suburbs of Washington out here, right? It is very nice there. However, when I zoom around and I actually virtually drive for deals, you would be amazed at how many little pockets and how many like houses with junk and trash are all over the place.
Yep.
All you have to do is spend about 5 minutes on looking around.
Yep.
I mean, there's 26 houses in foreclosure in Ashburn, Virginia, which is a very teeny tiny little town. 26 people are in foreclosure right now.
Yep. 141 million properties.
Wow. Nathan Wall had a great question. Can you pop that one up, Pacer?
Paul Wall.
Nathan Wall.
You remember Paul Wall?
Oh,
bro,
yeah.
I'll never forget Paul Wall. He had the best grills.
I think he said his name like 15 times.
Yes.
Ooh, Jamil, this is a great question for you, dude.
Great question. So Nathan Wall asked, hey, Jamil, can you explain the difference on how to comp a manufactured home versus a different home? And this is an incredible question. First and foremost, Nathan, what we want to do is we want to look at if this manufactured home is on owned land. Okay, first and foremost, it needs to be on owned land. If it's on a land lot, if it's on a land lease, so say it's a manufactured home and they're renting the lot monthly, that actually is not a house. That trades as a vehicle. Mm-hmm. And so you don't comp it the way that you would comp homes. So first and foremost, it needs to be on owned land. Secondly, you need to see when the year of construction was. The reason being is that any manufactured home built before 1976 across the United States is unfinanceable, meaning lenders won't lend on it, meaning your end buyer will have to come in with full cash, meaning fewer buyers available to buy that, meaning it'll sell for less. So you want your manufactured home to be built after 1976. So at 1976 or after. Now, if your manufactured home is on its own lot and it is built 1976 or after, then you need to comp it with other manufactured homes. You can't comp it against single-family homes. You have to find other manufactured homes in the area to comp it against. I hope that helped.
You go up. There's a Terry. Terry asked a good question up there. I think it's Terry.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Terrell, you mean?
Nope.
Terry.
Keep
there
going.
it is.
Keep there. It is.
that one?
Yeah, that's easy. It's listen. YouTube, virtual driving for dollars. Brent Daniels, virtual driving for dollars, bro. There you go. Or gal. I don't know. Terry goes. Could be a gal.
Could be.
But there you go. Virtual driving for dollars 2.0. Check that out.
It's one of those names that could be either like Bobby or
There you
Kim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or Pat. It's Pat.
It's time for and remember that?
Yeah. Real People's Champs. Thank you. Steady hustle vision. Hey guys, I had to cancel 2 deals.
Raphael, why you didn't call me?
A sub 2 and an owner financing because I didn't find a lender to fund those deals. Any suggestions? Great show in New York.
So what Raphael's talking about, some people might be confused by, well, if it's a sub 2 or an owner finance deal, what are you talking about? The sub 2, you're taking over somebody else's debt, and the owner financing, the seller is giving you financing like a bank. Why do you need a lender? Well, the reason you need a lender is sometimes for closing costs, sometimes for renovations and furniture for an Airbnb, those types of things. And so you get a secondary lender, a private lender. Raphael, bro, you could also assign these deals, right? You don't have to cancel on the seller with a sub 2 or owner financing. You assign those to somebody like me. Sell those to me. DM
Do you
me.
hear how hurt he is, Raphael?
You're breaking his
Bro.
heart on a Monday. You're breaking his
Dude.
heart on a Monday. Just start. What are we doing here, Raphael?
Gosh, you just get on a wholesale hotline and kick him right in the nuts.
Just FYI, guys, I have a full-time team member now in my DMs just looking at deals. So if you guys run into situations like this and you send me a deal, somebody will get back to you on my team. I look at them usually about 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day, but I can't stay on top of them all day long. So I hired somebody full-time. His name is Andrew. You guys will see more and more of him over the next couple of months as he gets more and more trained. But DM me this stuff, bro. There's no reason you should not have DM'd me this on Instagram. Jamil, this is a great question for you.
Love this. So contract season worldwide.
Mhm.
Great name on YouTube, by the way.
Mhm.
Asked, do you think cash buyers will buy a property that's tenant occupied in wealthy areas? Hell yeah, they will. Remember, cash buyers are looking for capital protection right now. If you have a tenant in place and they're paying market rent or close to market rent, not only are you helping that person place their money in an asset that's protected against inflation, but you're immediately giving them cash flow. So absolutely. Now, on the buy end of that, when you're negotiating with a seller, you can get a better price because it's got a tenant in it. So leverage. When you're buying, it's a problem. When you're selling, it's a gift.
Yep. Yeah, people want, if it's in a good school district, they go crazy for them. I mean, right? I mean,
Always.
when you're getting a lot of these deals, let me ask you this. When you're getting a lot of these deals come across your desk, I mean, are most of them in like in rougher neighborhoods than it is in like the prime areas?
I mean, they're all over the place.
Right. But I'm just saying majority.
The majority
Because
of
the
deals
majority
we
of deals
wholesale
I see
are in
coming
crap
in.
areas.
Right.
So very rarely do you find, I mean, and when we do get something in like Paradise Valley,
Right.
it's gone.
Gone.
Immediately. It's gone in 60 seconds.
At high prices.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge advantage. Don't be scared of really nice areas. The reason that they're so rare is usually people have at least their finances figured out, and they can make sure that they can make their payments and they're not as distressed, and they've got good equity and they keep their properties in good shape. But there's always some in there. Yep. Awesome.
You know, somebody asked me a question yesterday. Alejandro Alvarez, one of my students, mastermind student out of Texas, sends me a message and he says, did you always have the work ethic you have, or was there some event that forced you into becoming the person you are today? And my reply was, I've always been who I am. I'm just giving an honest answer. I've always had the right work ethic. My parents taught me how to work from a young age. I love working. I desire to work when I wake up. There's never a moment in my day where I'm like, how can I chill? Even yesterday during the Masters, I'm sitting there cleaning my house, spraying off my patio. I'm listening to the Masters, walking around my whole house. My wife's like, can you sit down on the couch? Can you please just sit down? No, I want to do things. I love doing things. However, my life did not turn into this absolute amazing blessing until I found real estate. So for me, the energy and the knowledge and the relationships is what the energy wasn't the problem. It was the knowledge of the right vehicle to be in and the relationships that I met along the way that amplified me and turned me into the person I am today. It was the knowledge and the relationship. So I don't have bad habits in the sense that I don't want to work. Right? I have other habits that I'm currently working on, but work ethic is not one of them. Brent and Jamil, I would say Jamil's more mindset oriented. Brent, I would say look at your arms. You have the freaking discipline of,
You guys are androids, or sorry, you guys are machines. I would never call you an android again, Pace. I'm sorry. You are a machine and you work like a machine. And I'm always in constant awe of how much energy and how much focus you have and what you can do. Brent, look at the way you live, look at your body. You've got 24-inch pythons. You could be a WWE wholesaler at the same time. Guys, I'm a piece of crap. Okay, I'm different than these two boys because I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. I had every temptation shoved in my face at a young age, and I fell into all of them. I tell this story quite often, but it wasn't, more than 6 or 7 years ago that I was waking up every single day with a hangover. Everyday drinker, right? Addicted to pain pills because of an accident I had been in and then just liking them. So that was where I was living. That's the crap that I was living in. I overcame addiction. I overcame laziness. I overcame limiting beliefs. I overcame where I grew up. I overcame bullies. I overcame so much. And you want to know how I did it? Meditation.
Nice.
Change your life.
Who introduced you to meditation?
I read a book called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. And she wrote in that book, I don't know what it is, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know what it is, but every successful person I've met or know who has made it in life meditates. And so I don't understand the science of it behind it, but I can tell you that everybody who has had success in their life does it. I then read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about his meditation practice and how meditation had been the way that he silenced and found ways to dive into and access an energy or a consciousness in this universe that fed him magical ideas that changed the world. Myself, I was inspired to meditate through that, and I started doing it every single day with a hangover. And then guess what happened? I just stopped wanting to wake up with a hangover. Mm-hmm. And I naturally wanted to change my life. I naturally evolved. Naturally. So if you're struggling right now with whatever happening in your life, I don't care if you grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, I don't care if you have a beer in your hand right now, it doesn't matter. You are not your addiction. You are not your shortcomings. You have the power within you to be the highest and best version of a human possible. You just have to tap into it. And the only way you're going to do that is by looking inside.
Brent, you're probably one of the most prolific readers I've ever met in my life. Is that how you have really become disciplined? Like, what do you think is your recipe? What can people take action on?
Yeah, I am always surrounding myself with positivity, whether it be the incredible people, whether it be just thoughts. I haven't listened to music in my car for, I don't know, 20 years. Well, really 7 years. But I just put really good things in all the time. And I make sure that when things are quiet at the house, I read. Now I'm reading and listening to Audible books at the same time to try to get more comprehension of what I'm doing. I put it at 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the book as the thing's going.
Awesome.
And an hour slips away like it was 10 minutes. It's incredible. It's bananas. That's a great tip for you guys out there. But listen, with me, Pace, idle hands do the devil's work.
Yeah.
Idle hands do the devil's work. If I am bored, if I'm just sitting there, if I'm not doing something, then we're gonna have some problems. So I just put myself in a position to always be busy, always doing something, always trying to learn and grow and do it. And that's part of the reason why it's so rewarding being a coach, because there's new people coming into it all the time that are coming in with fresh ideas and fresh thoughts and just really excited. And I get to live in that space, live in that energy. So it's absolutely incredible being a coach. It's incredible being able to be on here and to get loud and to be busy. I want to be busy. I want to be productive. I want to make sure that the time that I have is really well spent. And I want to be a magnet. I want to be a magnet for people out there that maybe didn't get a lot of recognition. Maybe they didn't get a lot of love at home. Maybe they didn't get a lot of respect from girls or guys, or they didn't get, they weren't athletic or whatever else. They didn't have that shine, but they have the stars in their eyes and they have a fire in their belly. And I want to be a magnet for everybody. But especially those people that deserve the coaching and the recognition and the love and the optimism that I'd like to bring. So it's hard to bring optimism if you're not optimistic.
Love it.
What an amazing episode of Wholesale Hotline. We are on episode 113. Is that correct?
Yeah, boy. This was a fire episode, guys. Holy moly.
Well, you guys had a little, it was with the ladies last week. That was fantastic. You guys were out in New York, spreading the love, and came back and just on fire.
On fire. Guys,
on
hit
fire.
That like button.
Hit that like button.
Trent just said, hit that like button, guys. Show us the love and support. Pace, what do you got going on?
Let's see. What do I have going on? I have all the things going on. But what I really want is I want to be on Brent Daniels' show on Wednesday. Him and I were texting about it the other day.
Are you going to come?
This Wednesday I can't, but I'm waiting for a Wednesday that I can.
Can I come?
You want to come Wednesday?
Can I? Not this Wednesday. Can I come when Pace comes? Because if Pace can come, I can come.
The problem with Jamil and I is we get our schedule for A&E on Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
And so I have to wait for a day that Wednesday works, or I got to text you my schedule and go, hey man, can we do a special episode on a day that is not Wednesday in the middle of the day?
1,000%. Yep.
Because I'd love to do a Novation series with you.
Yep.
And maybe do 2 or 3 of them over the course of maybe 2 or 3 months. So people have some stuff to look forward to and some case studies and some really good stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what I have going on. I have going on Brent Daniels' Wednesday show. What do you call your show on Wednesday, by the way?
Just Brent Daniels Live, Real Estate Investing Live, whatever you want to call it. It is
Biceps Live, guys. It's called Biceps Live.
Yeah. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday, guys. And first 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to just go real hard at you with instruction. And then it opens it up to question and answers. We have guests that come on. We start talking about some interesting things in real estate. It's phenomenal. So I'd love for you to join us. It's 2 hours every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
On my end, sorry, go ahead, Pace.
Jamil, I know you have one thing that happens every Sunday, right? Straight Outta Compton, which has become one of my favorite shows. Like, people love it. Here's one of the reasons why I love it. It's really freaking good. It teaches a lot of people, but now when people text me something and they go, hey, how do I comp this? I just go Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton. Go to Straight Outta Compton. So what else do you have going on besides Straight Outta Compton on Sunday live on your YouTube channel?
I'm doing a new podcast. As I had said, guys, I am on the Bigger Pockets Network. On the Market is the name of the show. Give us some love and go check it out. It's all about real estate data analytics and real-time updates on what's happening. If you guys are at all worried about interest rates, if you're worried about where the market is headed and you just want to get clarity on a weekly basis on the market, It is a new Bigger Pockets podcast. You can get it on Apple, Spotify. You can also get it on their YouTube channel. And then in addition to that, I'm helping Ryan this weekend launch Agent Investors. My bro, who came out of astro flipping, is now flowering into his own mentorship, his own coaching product, where he shows people how to maximize the returns that they can get doing deals with agents that have deals on the market. So what you want to do is tune into my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, do it now, because it's not going to be on an Air Meet. It's not going to be on a Zoom. I'm going to stream it this time on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. I think Emily's going to put my YouTube channel or something here, registration. I don't know. She's putting it in the chat. Just go do that. Opt in, register. And beyond that, guys, I'm just super blessed that you two are my friends. Thank you.
I will continue to work my guts out on behalf of our amazing collaboration. I love both of you guys. I was thinking today how grateful I am that I met Brent, how grateful I am that I met Jamil. There are very few people in my life that I can elevate to another level over and over and over and do it side by side with you guys. And there's no jealousy. There's no envy. There's no tearing each other down. It's just building each other up. And I recognize the people who do that to each other, like I'm watching other people do it to each other. Guys, you got to find your Brent. You got to find your Jamil.
Can I shout you out, Pace? Because I think the world needs to know what you did for me. Guys, the only reason I even had the opportunity to be on this Bigger Pockets podcast is because of that man. That man opened the door for me. He put me in contact with Bigger Pockets. He told them, you have to interview my brother. They had a new show coming. He said, Jamil, here is the people that you need to submit your audition to. In fact, he opened the door. He connected the dots for me to get that. Now I'm talking about a platform that is beneficial to anybody in this space. And he thought of his brother. He put me on. Pace.
That's what you do. That's what you do. And you don't count each other's money. Actually, there's one thing that you do. You do count each other's money. You say, man, how can we make more money next year? How can we make more money next year? And I'm so privileged to have both of you guys as my best friends and on my board of advisors. Brent Daniels, I will see you on Biceps Live on Wednesday. We're going to be doing Novations at some point. Guys, stay tuned. And we'll see you guys on episode 114 next Monday. Please bring a friend.
That's right. Let's get to 1,000. Love you guys.
Later,
see you next week.
West Side.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.